Hey guys, so I wanted to make a quick little video about my most influential coaches to me at least. Now, I'm not going to name my coaches that I've personally had because I don't want to just shout them out because of personal information and all that. But, just in case any of them for some reason watch my videos, I just want to let you know I'm not even going to mention you guys because I feel like that's kind of cheap because obviously all of you were influential throughout my life. So shout out to you guys. But before we begin, happy Veterans Day. Shout out to all the veterans. Thank you for serving us and protecting our country. And now let's get back to the video. All right. So I was originally going to do top five. I could really only think of three. And the reason is because a lot of the names, one, I can't pronounce without sounding violently racist, probably. Um, Two, I just don't know their names because it's just really hard to find. So, some generalizations. Whoever the German coach was in the 90s, honestly, just every German coach, screw it. Whatever. They're all top notch. The German system, that whole system has basically been the foundation of every technical aspect of the way I coach and the way I throw. Now, obviously, not the only one, but it's pretty much the basic one. That's really for every event. They're just, I don't know why. The Germans are just good at like every throwing event. So, I don't know why, but All right. So, that's just a general thing, but if I had to be a little more specific, it would probably be in the 90s with like Schultz and Riedel and all that. But I mean, you can't argue with the results of the German, just traditional, basic technique that just works. They're so good at periodization, at peaking. They're just good at everything. I mean, I don't even need to say anything. I don't think there's been an Olympics where a German um, thrower hasn't been in the final in at least like two or more events, which is insane. I don't think any country can even say that, especially in discus is probably what they're most known for. But they've also had 80-meter hammer throwers, obviously like Vetter, Roller, and several other 90-plus-meter jav throwers. They've had David Stroll, Ulf Timmerman, just a whole host of other 22-plus-meter shot putters, and 23 in Ulf's case. Obviously, they've had Wolfgang Schmidt, Robert Harding, Lars Riedel, Jürgen Schultz, Christoph Harding, and who's the other guy that was just in the finals? I don't know, whatever. I can just go down the list for hammer throwers. Holy man, what Cobbler? No, not Cobbler. Sorry, not Cobbler. Something like that. That could be in like the mid 2000s. I think he threw like 81 or 82. I'm blanking on his name, even though I think I've made a video about him. So, oops. But yeah. So that to get back on subject, that whole German system, just all their coaches, just everything. Probably, if I actually knew the coaches' names, so I'm just gonna list them as number five, and I'm just gonna list the German system. I know that's kind of weird, but there's just too many coaches to name throughout so many decades. So, whatever. It's my list. So, number four, probably going to be Don Babbitt. So, Don Babbitt, if you guys don't know, coached Reese Hoffa. I'm pretty sure either coached Adam Nelson for a time or at least worked with him. He was and still is. He is still coaching at Georgia. He's consistently run some of the most successful NCAA programs for the throws, consistent as people in the NCAA final. Obviously, the work with Reese Hoffa that goes unsaid. And really, like Reese Hoffa, if you guys watched my top five influential throwers, I at least I think mentioned Reese Hoffa in. I'm pretty sure he was in my top five. If not, he was honorable mention. But especially when I was started throwing, he was still that guy, kinda a little bit, kind of entering the end of his prime. And I mean, I consume Don Babbitt literature. I still watch a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube about it. Obviously, Reese Hoffa, just a whole bunch of stuff. I love the way that he uses the overweight and lightweight. He more influenced the way I do my training and my periodization as a coach mainly, and kind of as a thrower. I wasn't as controlling my throwing when I was actually a thrower, obviously, because I had a coach. Yeah. Specifically, I love the way he used his philosophy about overweight and underweight implements, and about how he used to say when Reese Hoffa was not having a good day, or he just felt super tired or super fatigued, if his CNS was super fried. Instead of throwing a 16, maybe they throw a 7K that day to still get a pretty good training. But the thing is, the 7K would feel like the 16, so he was still kind of pretty much getting reps with the 16. So that kind of just changed my whole philosophy about overweight and underweight implements, specifically underweight, and implementing that into a program, basically adapting on the fly. So if I have one of my athletes that's just nothing's happening and stuff, I'll have them drop down, and then the mental confidence that the athlete will start to have, oh, okay, so even though I this is a shitty day, I can turn around and stuff. So that's mainly a specific area he influenced me. And then lifting, and I'm not gonna just you can watch the YouTube videos on Don Babbitt. I'm not gonna give a whole course about Don Babbitt's models or whatever. But so that's number 4, Don Babbitt. Number 3, Art Venegas. That was between. No, I'm gonna put him 2. Number 3. Damn. Just like I did the German method, I'm gonna have to say the Polish. All right, and I know that might seem really weird. However, Poland, just like Germany, maybe not so much in jav, but in shot put, discus, hammer, they've got it on lock. Obviously, the world record holder for women's hammer is there. Some of the best hammer throwers of all time, like Zeman Zielkowski, Paweł Fajdek, Nowicki from Poland, all Olympic champions. Well, okay, sorry, not Fajdek, but he's a 5-time world champ. Obviously you got Thomas Majeski, 2-time Olympic champion, competed against some of the best shot putters of all time, taking nothing away from them. And then, obviously they have Anita, and then a whole host of other really, really solid, good hammer throwers for both genders, and shot putters, and discus throwers. Oh yeah, sorry, they had Peter Malachowski, Robert Urbanek. Man, I'm forgetting some of the women. What the hell? Okay, whatever. That doesn't matter. But basically, just like what I did for the German system, I'm just going to list the Polish system. And why do I say that? And it's mainly discus, if I'm going to be quite honest. It's because their methods are kind of unconventional, but they work. So they're the first country for me that I saw, specifically Peter Malachowski, where it doesn't look like he has he doesn't have a super high and low orbit. It's just it's almost flat. And that really has influenced me. I've had some people that I've had try and copy Peter Malachowski that worked really well for them. For mainly people that have pretty bad shoulder mobility, or not enough strength, especially from a high school to a college when they go to a 2K. It's very hard, especially if you're on the weaker side, to hold up a discus, like a 2K discus, even though, it's only 2 kilograms. But when you're actually trying to throw far, it can get kind of hard to hold it up there for entire practice and stuff. That's why you need shoulder strength and obviously to be strong to hold positions, even though the 2K doesn't actually weigh. 2 kilograms is honestly not that much weight in the grand scheme of things, but in the context of discus throwing, it is. I don't know. So, but mainly I use it more for people who are, a little wider. Sorry, Peter Malachowski, but, Um, and more mainly for people who have shoulder impingements or shoulder mobility issues and stuff, that it's really hard for them to get a high point and low point without it, one, hurting, or two, they're just physically enabled to do it. So I've had several cases of that. So, it really opened my eyes that, like, hey, you don't need to be a super mobile, flexible machine to throw 71 plus meters. You can just do what Peter Malachowski does and stuff. So it really changed my conception about orbit, and the fact that the Polish system, just like the German system, consistently are just consistent in what they produce. They consistently produce top-notch athletes, top-notch system, and you can't argue their technical model. They all do pretty much the same things, with some varying differences. They're all consistent within competitions, which is the first thing I look for when trying to find a technical model, is consistency, because if you're not consistent, it's probably not a very good technique to copy. All right, so that's number 3. Number 2, spoilers from previous, Art Venegas. Art Venegas is what I consider the GOAT shot put coach. I think he's produced the most 22-meter shot putters of all time. Obviously a UCLA legend, Coach John Godina, still the NCAA record holder, John Brenner. I can go down the list and list and list of. I've had the pleasure of meeting him like 4 times, because I live around UCLA and all that. So, I remember, funny story, I remember the first time I actually met him, I was actually still competing, and I was throwing, and I wasn't having a very good day. And I didn't know Art Venegas was even there because I was competing, so I wasn't really paying attention to the crowd until after I was done. And then he kind of walked up to me, because I think he was just there just to get like an award, because he's just that guy. And he basically told me, it's like, wow, you move super well. You should go in the weight room and actually lift some weights, and maybe you could throw far. Now, I didn't hear that part. I just heard, oh, I move well. And, I went up to my coach. I was like, you can't talk shit to me anymore. Art Venegas just said I move well. But he also kind of called me a wimpy bitch. But, whatever. And then I've had the pleasure of meeting him at like Mount Sac and a couple other places, and just picking his brain and just kind of confirming the stuff I kind of knew about him in terms of technical models. And what I really love about him in particular is the simplicity and the fact that his technical model can really work for just about anyone. Like, I don't think there's a single person that it can't really work for, just because it's just so simple. It's like, it's none of like, ooh, this, or like knee angle and stuff. It's like literally turn. So I've had surgery. If you watch my previous videos, this is going to be a very ugly demonstration. But basically, out the back, turn. All right, and then I don't know if he still coaches this. I know he coached it back in like the 90s and something. He's probably changed a little bit, but well, actually no, this is Don Babbitt. Oh, actually, I do apologize. This is not Art Venegas. This is Don Babbitt. My bad. That's Don Babbitt's. So, forget that. If I knew how to actually edit videos, I'd probably edit that out. But I'm a dummy. Alright? But anyways, Art Venegas, enough said, like, the godfather of modern day, like, he's just the GOAT. I mean, he's influenced so much, he's the reason I say sprint out the back. He's the reason why that's a popular phrase. And just overall, his just approach to just don't overcomplicate things. Literally just turn, go, and then just throw. It's literally that simple. It's just, I've got the big circle, little circle from him. It wasn't his exact words or something, but, just watching John Godina and stuff, just super wide, and then just super relaxed, and then tight in the middle, and then go. And that's basically been the approach for my baseline coaching technique and my technique as a whole. All right, so yeah, I consider the GOAT shot put coach, and I don't even think it's actually close in my opinion. No offense to every other coach ever, but you know, you've coached the most 22-meter shot putters ever. I don't even know what needs to be said after that. All right, number one. And if you guys have watched my videos before, you probably know who it is. It's Vestinas Tyson. Now, if you guys don't know who Vestinas Tyson is, one, I've made a video about him and a lot of the athletes he's coached, including Gerd Kanter, Joachim Olsen, Daniel Stahl, Simon Peterson. He's coached the most 70-meter throwers ever. And just, I consider the GOAT discus coach of all time. All right, and he, to me, I look for him basically as the gold standard for technique, because I think he is really the first person to do the modern day technique well with Gerd Kanter. And you can still see the remnants of, Mikolos takes stuff from him, either with knowing or without knowing, like the left knee out the back. That's all Vestine. Not turning the foot all the way and just leave, like a whole bunch of stuff, like stretch reef, like separation with the hip, like just a whole bunch of stuff, just saying grounded at the finish. Super simple wind that everyone can do. It's really like the technique that really anyone can do, because it's just, and I love his whole talks about mentality and competition. I think he produces the most consistent discus throwers of all time. And, obviously he's coached several Olympic world champions, several 70-plus meter discus throwers, in Gerd's case, 73 plus. He's a legend. And I've had the chance to meet him once. And another story time, I was I think freshman or sophomore in college, and I was at the Try and Invite in San Diego. And I knew Daniel Stahl and stuff, and Simone Peterson were going to be there. I got to meet Robert Harding there, and Ishan Adati, and all these guys. I did not know Vestinas Tyson was going to be there, though. I don't know why. I was just a little idiot back then. And I was even more of an idiot because when I actually had the opportunity to talk to him, I tapped him on the shoulder, and the only thing I asked was, "How's Gerd Kanter doing?" And this is after Gerd Kanter retired, and actually no, he wasn't retired at that time. But he wasn't working with Vestine anymore. And sorry, I'm probably totally mispronouncing his name. Again, I'm not Icelandic, so I do apologize for that. I'm probably mispronouncing all these guys' names, and I do apologize for that. So that's the only thing I asked him. I didn't ask him about technique. I didn't ask him about anything else. I just asked how he was doing and how Gerd Kanter was doing. And to this day, I'm probably never get a chance to ever meet him again, and I am kicking myself for it. And that's one of the biggest regrets of my life, is not asking him actual technical questions. The one chance I actually have to talk to him. So, screw me, I guess, But, basically, what I'm getting at is, just the whole technique of, using the left arm, using the whole body. He's the one that really hit home of just, throwing with the entire body and actually being an athlete, instead of just thinking about throwing like it's some weird specific technique. No, throwers are some of the best athletes in the world, and I don't want to hear anything about it. And he is the one person, the first person that really, that hit home for me. When I see, Gerd Kanter and, Daniel Stahl and, all these guys that, you wouldn't think are athletic, but then you see them just do a it really opened my eyes when I saw Gerd Kanter doing a 200 meter on video. I was like, Jesus Christ. But, oh, okay, so, damn. And then just his whole approach of just, complete individualization. Oh, my goodness. Wow, it's been a long day. Basically, treating everyone as an individual and not trying to make everyone throw the exact same. And he's the first person that really hit that home for me. Because if you notice, none of his throwers look completely the same. All right? They all have the base thing, the base technique and stuff that he coaches. But they all, just to the naked eye, just look vastly different. And that really hit home to me because, everyone is different. So why would everyone throw the exact same? That's one of my pet peeves when I see other programs and stuff, and literally all their throwers look the exact same. And, some of them will throw super far and some of them will just suck because that's not the way they should throw. All right? And Vestine really likes to play your strengths. Like there's the famous quotes like Gerd Kantor, I really like to run. Why would I make Daniel Stahl run? Because he's big and flat-footed. So why would I make him run? And so, that's not an exact quote, but that's the gist of it. I'll paraphrase it. And it makes perfect sense. Why? He doesn't need to run. Like, he can just go on walks and stuff. And, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't... And again, this is my list. So this is the most influential to me. These aren't like ranked in order of like what I think are the best coaches of all time. Okay, well the top 2 kind of are. But like I love so many coaches. I love like Worski, John Smith. I love a whole bunch of other St. Clair, a whole host of others. And also like my coaches, whether good or bad in my opinion, influenced me in good or bad ways depending on what you take about it. But yeah, so to all my coaches throughout the years, which I've had several, thank you for 1, putting up with me, and then 2, really helping me through my life and just making me find my career and all that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys, 1, learn something, do some more research into these coaches, and yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day.